It's time for Tiger Talk, presented by Old Chicago Pizza and Tap Room. Old Chicago, amazing craft beers and food, north of I-70 in Hayes. Old Chicago, share, reconnect, celebrate. Tiger Talk is also brought to you by these premier Tiger sponsors. Golden Belt Bank of Hayes and Ellis, providing the best in-home loans to the Tiger community since 1920. The Hayes Med Orthopedic Institute, part of the University of Kansas Health System and the official physicians for Fort Hays State University Athletics. The Certified Public Accountants of Adams, Brown, Barron, and Ball. Your trusted advisors providing you with commitment, experience, and integrity. BTI, your John Deere dealer, with locations in Buckland, Great Bend, Greensburg, Hoxie, Ness City, and Pratt. BTI, Valley Hope of Norton. Get help and find hope. The Taco Shop. Dine in, carry out, or delivery. You've never had it so good. Horizon Appliance and Mattress. TVs, appliances, Traeger grills, and Tempur-Pedic bedding. Open 7 days a week at 1501 East 27th in Hayes. And Eagle Communications. Internet, TV, phone. Eagle Communications. Our community connected.
And happy Monday, and welcome into Tiger Talk. Gerard Wellbrock with you from Old Chicago, north of the interstate in Hayes, where we recorded over the noon hour on Monday, and we certainly invite you to join us for the program next week. Of course, you can come out anytime, maybe watch the big K-State game tonight with West Virginia. They've got the TVs on, a great place to watch basketball, and it's a great place to bring your gang and watch the game. They've got great lunch specials. In fact, the new menus came out last week, so some new menu items that aren't normally on there, another seasonal menu. So check all of that out the next time you're here. Of course, all the great pizzas with their dough made fresh daily. It's all at Old Chicago Pizza and Tap Room, north of the interstate in Hayes. Gerard Wellbrock and head coach Tony Hobson of the now 23-1 Fort Hays State women. Got a couple of victories this last week, knocking off Lindenwood on Thursday night, 77-52 in the top 25 showdown, and then beat Lincoln on Saturday afternoon, 73-59 to maintain their two-game lead over Washburn atop the MIAA standings. And I guess anytime you go 2-0, it's always a good week, and obviously a lot of build-up for that Lindenwood game. And again, your team showing when it's a big game, they come to play and really put together a great effort and a nice win over a really solid Lindenwood team to start the week off on Thursday.
I just not sure how much better we could have played that night. We were hitting on all cylinders and guarded well and shot it okay from outside and played well on the interior. We guarded their marquee player very well and held her down a little bit, made her really work for what she got. So the kids were just really ready to play, real dialed in, and I thought we got good performances from practically everybody.
Yeah, you mentioned Billner, their top scorer, the only player averaging a double-double in the MIAA this year, and she got her double-double, 15 and 10, but didn't really seem to have a big factor in the game. She was 6 and 9 from the floor. She shot it well, but she didn't get her normal amount of shots, and it just seemed like a lot of possession. She didn't touch the ball a lot.
Well, and I thought we kept her off the boards well, and that's where she gets a lot of her points. And I even had, and this was just interesting observation. I just had a fan after the game said, now which one was their big time player? And it's not really a knock on her. It was just kind of a compliment to us that we held her down, and she wasn't ever really that big of a factor. I mean, she hit a three late that when the game was decided, and she got a couple fouls when we attacked the basket, and I just thought we held her down well, and I think if you can keep her in check, then they have a hard time scoring sometimes.
You were down 4 early, 8-4, which, not atypical against a good team. But then again, you had that run, 10-0 run to give you the lead. They kind of made a little push to get it close again at the end of the first quarter, but you had a solid start to the second quarter. We've seen that so many times this year from your squad, starting quarters well, especially maybe not the opening quarter, but the second or third to get a little separation. They did that again on Thursday.
I think anytime you're going to have a little run like that, you have to be able to really clamp down defensively, and I think that's where it usually starts for us. Maybe we hit a shot and then we turn them over, get a steal, and then get an easy basket, or maybe get fouled or whatever, and you can kind of keep those things going. But without really locking down defensively and causing some trouble for them, and you can't get on those runs. And also I really think we've been rebounding so well that sometimes those little runs are the momentum is maintained by getting an offensive rebound and another look. And T and Bell and the rest of them have been so good at just crashing the boards and getting those extra possessions.
I mean, I'm sure you work on that, but how much of that is instinct? Because it's amazing how, be it a three-pointer, a two-pointer, or whatever, they just seem to have a feel for where that ball's going. And boy, so many times you see them just beating the opponent to the basketball.
Well, I think you said the correct word there. You beat them to the basketball. There's you can do every rebounding drill you want to do in the world, and if your kids don't want to go get it, it doesn't matter. We don't do any rebounding drills, to be honest. What we do is if I catch somebody standing and not making an attempt to go to the boards, then we deal with that in a way. But the main thing is if how bad they want to go get it, and just playing with some energy and just being aware that every time it goes up there, it's basically a free ball, and it can go to either team, and it usually goes to the team that wants it the worst. And T has just gradually over the years gotten a little bit better and a little bit better. Her conditioning's so good now that she really never runs out of gas, and I think that's the main thing. It's certain things suffer when you get tired. A lot of times it's not your offense. It's usually the effort plays, defensively sometimes, but usually rebounding. You just find yourself kind of standing there watching. So we try to get them to make a conscious effort to rebound the ball every possession and not to take one of them off. And a lot of times, even when you can't get to the primary rebound, women's basketball, there's no rebounds above the rim. I mean, a lot of them are tipped, and there's a lot of loose balls. So even if you're on the perimeter, just being in a ready position to go get it, because a lot of times your bigs are in there trying to rebound, they're tied up, they're wrestling with somebody, and it gets tipped out, and then it's usually that secondary person that comes in and gets it. So, I mean, we talk about it, but we don't. There's not a drill we do. It's just a matter of effort.
Yep, and I had a wise coach once say that rebounding is kind of that, is effort and attitude as much as skill and anything, quickness and strength and all those other things.
Yeah, well, he was right. Or she, or whoever. They were right.
Well, Tigers get a nice win. They knock off Lindenwood on Thursday night, 77 to 52. At that point, 22-1 and 13-1 of the MIAA, and then had a nice victory over Lincoln on Saturday. We'll talk about that and preview another road trip, some toughies for the Tigers down in Oklahoma as we move along in the program. Tiger Talk is recorded over the noon hour at Old Chicago. We do it on Mondays at noon. So make your plans to join us for lunch next week. Of course, you can stop by anytime. Burgers, sandwiches, salads, distinctive taproom fare. It's all at Old Chicago Pizza and Taproom. Serious craft brew, seriously good food. We will take a break. More with women's coach Tony Hobson right after this on the Tigers Sports Network, built by Paul Wertenberger Construction.
I'm Patty Stoll, broker-owner of Coldwell Banker Executive Realty. We want your dreams to become a reality. Coldwell Banker Executive Realty prides itself in putting you first.
Back in low to Mo. Shot blocked from behind by Leggett. Mo got it back, and then Page blocked it. Taken away by Kennett. 2 blocks on defense, and now the Tigers with the basketball. Page, left wing 3. Short, back to air ball. Saved in by Ross. Into Barbieri for the layup. Oh, what a transition there, and the Tigers lead 11-8 at a timeout called by Lindenwood. That was some of the action from Thursday night of the Tigers' 77-52 victory over Lindenwood. Tiger Talk recorded at Old Chicago Pizza and Tap Room over the noon hour on Mondays. Of course, you can always order online anytime at oldchicago.com. They make your to-go orders a breeze. It's at Old Chicago, your craft beer authority north of the interstate in Hayes. Kind of an example there. Got a couple of good defensive plays and missed the first three, but ended up getting another good look. And Bell becoming so good at just finishing off those plays. She gets it inside. It's become almost automatic for her, and it's been fun to watch her progress and develop throughout her career, just how good she's gotten in so many aspects of her game.
Well, she's definitely, I don't know, between her and Randall, I don't know who would be the most improved, but that's a big thing on your team advancing and not losing ground when you lose players to graduation. Is just kids improving in your program, and those two are just prime examples of that. They've both stepped it up so much from last year and just really got a feel for it and have improved. The thing I like about that highlight when you play it, when we double block the girl, but in the background, you can just hear the crowd, and it's not like the 60s sitcoms where you have the laugh track, that you hit. I mean, that's a real crowd back there, and they're into it, and then the good play on the other end, and that's just not quitting on a play. Somebody misses a shot badly, and we get the rebound, ends up a layup. So it was just kind of a good little turnaround there. And I like how you can hear the crowd in the background.
Yeah, well, almost 2,600 on Thursday, and then almost 3,200 on Saturday. So great crowds really have been since Christmas, since the students have gotten back and really getting behind this team, which is obviously easy to do when you're playing basketball the way they do. And they got the nice win over Lindenwood, and then you came back against Lincoln on Saturday. And one of those games, I don't want to put a danger game, a red flag or whatever, but as much build-up for a top 25 showdown as Thursday was, natural when you host the last place team in the conference to maybe not have that same fire, same intensity. You can kind of sense right off the gate. You missed three point-blank layups to start it, and just felt that they weren't quite as intense. But to their credit, fought through that and found a way to get a solid win against I thought a Lincoln team that played really well and gave you a good battle on Saturday afternoon.
There's a lot of times there's a reason why you're not quite as sharp, and I think part of it was us, and I agree. We started off a little just not with quite an edge that we needed to, and it's the things that are apparent to me are the missed easy shots, and then I don't know if it's the first time they had the ball or the second that they got 2 offensive rebounds, and that just usually doesn't happen against us. So I just thought we were a half step slow to start the game and maybe not quite as focused as we need to be, but I thought Lincoln, the one thing that they did about as good as anybody we've played is they controlled the tempo on us, and we couldn't get them sped up where we wanted them to be, and they controlled it with the kind of a full court zone, just slowed it down. They walked the ball up the floor themselves, and it made us just slow down. Defensively, we were standing back. We were letting them pass it around wherever they wanted it, and I don't like that. But it's almost like they lulled us to sleep a little bit and got us to play at their pace. And then it's that's not the way we like to play, and we're not comfortable doing that. And but still, I didn't think it was a great game by us by any means. But it's one of those where it's like in golf, they say how bad are your bad shots? Are they good enough to recover from? Everybody hits the good ones. These are professionals, obviously, because we don't. But so I guess if that's going to be our bad one, that's the way it is. We're not going to play probably quite as well as we did Thursday every night, or even the previous Thursday at Pitt. So I thought we did a good job of just kind of doing what we could, and anytime you shoot as poorly as we did from the outside and the other team's in the zone, it's going to be hard to stretch it out, and that's what happened the second half. They set in the zone. We couldn't make a three. That's what they were giving us, and we just couldn't quite get away from them.
Yeah, it's interesting you bring out their press. I mean, they weren't really pressing to turn you over or just make you work a little bit longer and then settle back. And as you said, on offense, they just kind of stood out there and got in their set with about 12 to 10 on the clock. And just, I know you can try to speed them up and try to do that, but sometimes it's easier said than done, and sometimes just it's hard to do.
Well, they have really good one-on-one players, so it was okay for them to get down to 10 on the clock. They were still going to get a shot off because they had 2 or 3 kids that could get you off the dribble. They had the one kid is a big kid that can get you inside and get shots off. So they had, that fit into their game plan, was just waiting and getting maybe a screen and then attacking, and it worked for them. So, they were taking a little time off the clock defensively. So then when we did attack their zone, we had less time to do it, and that makes it easier for them. So just a good game plan by them, I thought. And like I said, sometimes you have to give the other team credit, and I think they deserve some.
Yeah, Dickerson double-double for them, 15 and 13, and did not hit a three. She's a really good three-point shooter, so fortunate in that regard, but hard to defend. I mean, she's not your typical guard. She's a little bigger, but very athletic, very quick. She can crash the boards, and that was kind of, in a way, a mismatch for you guys.
Well, she reminds me of like a Charles Barkley, only female, where she's a big kid, but she can move. I mean, it isn't like she's not athletic. And, boy, that size is a tremendous advantage when you can move it. And she could. She's a skilled player and one of the leading scorers in the conference, and kind of kept him in it, I thought.
Well, yeah, double-double from T once again. Hit all 7 of her free throws. And then Whitney Randall got her first career double-double. And she's been obviously doing a good job and scoring and doing all those things, but she kind of had it all together. She had 10 points and 10 rebounds, and just had a really all-around solid game, one of her probably best this season and maybe as a Tiger.
Well, I thought probably that game and maybe the Emporia game, she was really good. But our post players kind of bailed us out as far offensively. Bell and T and Randall were really good. And I'd been on Randall a little bit about her rebound, and then thought, just thought as athletic as she is. But it's like we were talking earlier. It's one of those. I don't know if rebounding's a skill. Rebound is I guess it would be, but it's just wanting the ball worse than the other guy, and you have to have some physical skills to do it. But she should be capable of really being a great rebounder, and I think she will be. I think this was possibly an early sign to what you might see a lot more of in the future from her. I think it's just a matter of sometimes you can't just get rebounds that just come to you. You have to come to them. You have to go get them. And that's what T's so good about. She can go from one side of the lane to the other to get a rebound. A lot of kids will get the rebounds that come to them, but they don't get any of the others. And I think all of our kids really, really chase the ball well.
Well, the Tigers get the win on Saturday afternoon in front of just a shade under 3,200. Great atmosphere at the Coliseum. They win at 73-59. Now 23-1. Washburn won, so Fort Hays State still 2 up on the Ichabod's with 4 to go in conference play. And big road swing for Fort Hays State, heading down to Edmond Thursday to play Central Oklahoma, then Northeastern State on Saturday, and Tahlequah. We'll talk about that and more when we return to Tiger Talk, which is recorded at Old Chicago Pizza and Tap Room over the noon hour. Old Chicago inviting you to join them for happy hour, 3 until 6 Monday through Friday. It's all at Old Chicago Pizza and Tap Room. Serious craft brews, seriously good food. We'll take another break. More with Coach Thompson right after this on the Tiger Sports Network, built by Paul Wertenberger Construction.
Ready to discover something new? The next time you're in your car, tune your radio to 94.3 FM.
It's here.
It's Hayes' greatest hits.
Love it.
On 1400 KAYS and 94.3 FM.
94.3 FM, KAYS. Go ahead, check us out.
Now Ross right wing for a three. Skids off, no good. Leggett gets the offensive rebound. She'll bring it out. Now will attack. Stops in the right corner. Dribbles down the baseline. Goes up, scores, and is fouled. And a chance for a three-point play. Oh, the tenacity and the persistence of Tatiana Leggett. And it's 49-33 Tigers.
Yeah, big play there from T, helping the Tigers kind of slowly pull away. They would actually lead by 17 and saw Lincoln cut it to 8 a couple of times. A little nervousness in the stands, but then your team closed it on a 6-0 run and put the game away to get the victory. Tiger Talk is at Old Chicago Pizza and Tap Room, and recorded at noon over the noon hour on Monday. So check out their late night specials next time you're in. Every day starting at only $3 at Old Chicago Pizza and the Craft Beer Authority. Yeah, they made it an 8-point game, and there's a little nervousness in the stands, but you made some shots and hit some free throws down the stretch to kind of put any hope of a comeback to bed for Lincoln, but got a little anxious there in the fourth quarter.
Well, it got closer than we wanted it for sure, and part of it was we didn't get back on defense a couple times, and they took it to the basket, made a couple tough shots, and they didn't have any quit in them, that's for sure. And you have to give them some credit for not kind of calling it in on the end of a long road trip and being down 16-17. And but like I said, a lot of that it was some of them and some of us. And I just thought we didn't finish it out. I didn't think we finished the game very well. And I don't know. We seem maybe a little tired, but I don't see why we should be. I mean, they're 21 years old and they had a day off, so in between they should. But still, it's just a matter of we started off without the edge, and I'm not sure we ever got it. And boy, those things, it's a kind of a tenuous little deal there where it's really hard to get back. So you just need to start with it, and it's a lot easier to keep it than it is to not have it and then try to gain that during the game. And the other team gets a little confidence, and they play better than what they normally would.
Well, you're going to need that edge Thursday. Certainly both games this weekend, but especially Thursday night down at Edmond, taking on the Broncos of Central Oklahoma. They're a team that's been battling to stay in the upper half. They've been a really good program over the last several years, and you're going to get their best shot, and it's been a tough place to play. I think you've lost 3 in a row, and I think Fort Hays State's just 2-4 against Central Oklahoma on their home floor in MIAA play. So big challenge coming up on Thursday night against the Broncos.
Yeah, well, we're usually facing a really good team down there, and so it's not an easy place to play. And they've been playing better. They've got another big kid back healthy that's playing good minutes for them. So we'll have our hands full for sure. They shoot the ball well. We'll have to play well to win there. And Northeastern too. Last week they're at Washburn and at Emporia. They played Emporia to 6 points. Yeah. They gave Washburn a decent game. I think they ended up losing by 12, but that's on the road. So you get down there in the country down there and wherever you're at. I think you're still in the United States.
It's close.
But sometimes I wonder if you don't need passports when you go down there. But
I'll track mine just in case.
But it'll be a tough road swing, and it can be a deciding road swing for us just to get a couple more games under our belt here towards this conference race. And so they're really important to us. And one thing that we have been able to do is we've really played well on the road this year. Maybe save Kearney. We played really good for a while up there, but not the whole game. But as far as the other road trips, we've been able to take our game on the road and come out okay. So just hopefully we'll be able to really dial in this week.
It was academic night, and they honored, and you had most of your team out there being honored. So they're smart. They're a smart bunch, and we've seen them before. And they know which games. Not that every game isn't important, but obviously you go through a schedule. Some have a little more meaning and bearing than others, and they seem to elevate their play when they have to, and obviously Thursday would categorize as one of those key games here in the conference. They all are big from here on out, but when you start looking at the big picture and regionals, which the rankings will come out this week and all of that, but they seem to know when they maybe have to hit it that extra switch, extra notch, because they know it's going to be a big challenge.
Well, they have so far. I don't like that, but I wish they would hit that switch every game, but It's not like that they just totally no-show on the other games.
Right.
It's just that they aren't quite as sharp, and they probably know maybe they don't need to be. But as long as they can keep bringing it when they need to, and so far they've answered the bell every time, we'll be in good shape.
You know, we talk about the grind. I think we talked about this last week, but now you're down to 4 games left, and you got a 2-game lead. So that conference championship, that pride, you can kind of see it dangling there, and got some more work to do to do it. But have you noticed a difference now that you get to this point of the season with the type of year you've had and what, you know, obviously the expectations for not only the fans and everything, but I'm sure for your team as well, for what they hope to accomplish. Have you seen a difference in practice and just how they approach everything now?
Well, I think we're through the dog days, and we're getting where we can see the light at the end of the tunnel. But they seem to be more attentive, and we haven't had a real bad practice for a while. I think they feel a little bit of pressure, and we've talked about that, and I just, you know, I encourage it. Like, let's talk about this so-called pressure, and what is wrong with this? What's wrong with pressure? There's, you know, most things that happen on the good side of things happen because somebody was put under a little pressure, and so everybody talks about that like it's a bad thing. Well, what's so bad about it? Let's see what we got. Maybe it'll pressure us into playing better. So I think instead of like avoiding it and not talking about it, we just hey, okay, so we're under pressure, but it's a good kind of pressure. Do you want to not be under pressure and be in fourth? Let's be under pressure and be leading it, and see how we respond to it.
That sounds good. Well, we'll certainly find out on Thursday. It'll be a good one with Central Oklahoma, as it always is. Tony, we appreciate it, and we'll see you down in Edmond Thursday night.
Okay, thanks, Gerard.
There you go. Head coach Tony Hobson of the Fort Hays State women. They'll be at 5:30 on Thursday against the Broncos, and then 1:30 Saturday afternoon against Northeastern State in Tahlequah. Tiger Talk recorded at Old Chicago Pizza and Tap Room over the noon hour. We do it on Mondays. Of course, playback tonight. Old Chicago, the Craft Beer Authority, 40 rotating draft beers, so stop on by today north of the interstate at Old Chicago Pizza and Tap Room. Men's coach Mark Johnson joins us after the break right here on the Tiger Sports Network, built by Paul Wertenberger Construction.
Hi, everyone. This is Gerard Wellbrock inviting you to join us for Tiger Talk. We record it over the noon hours Mondays at Old Chicago, north of the interstate in Hays, and play back at 6 o'clock Monday nights on Tiger Radio Mix 103. You can also catch it on Eagle TV's channel 14 and 614, Tuesday and Wednesdays at 10 a.m. and 7 p.m., and always on HaysPost.com. So join us for Tiger Talk over the noon hour Mondays at Old Chicago. Back to Holmes, wide open three. He buried it. Three-pointer for Grant Holmes, who had been 2 for 16 over the last 20 games. Just his second three of the year, and the Tigers lead 46-45 on an 8-0 run. Now a steal by Brady Worth. Fort Hays State back the other way. Here they come. Kinnaman kicks it over to Davis for three. He knocked it in. Back-to-back Tiger three-pointers, and they lead by 4. 49-45, 11-0 Fort Hays State run.
Yeah, it was a key stretch on Saturday as the Tigers knock off Lincoln 72-63. Welcome back to Tiger Talk at Old Chicago Pizza and Tap Room, home of the World Beer Tour. 110 beers from around the world for you to sample. You can ask for details the next time you're here at Old Chicago and begin your World Beer Tour. Old Chicago, your pizza and craft beer authority. Yeah, quite a bounce-back win for the Tigers on Saturday, knocking off Lincoln after a frustrating and disappointing loss to Lindenwood on Thursday night. We're joined now by men's coach Mark Johnson. I guess that was the best scenario after a frustrating game Thursday to come back and win Saturday, and your team certainly answered the call and was kind of in a way a make-or-break kind of game for the season and what lies ahead, but found a way to answer the call after the tough one.
Yeah, I mean, if we want to get a bye all the way to the quarterfinals, felt like that's a game we probably needed to win to kind of hold off the closest pursuers. And, you know, I thought our guys did a great job of responding. We played really hard. I thought, you know, like I said after the game, I thought we played well. We just didn't shoot the ball well. And that's been a kind of a problem with our team right now. We actually looked at the stats today, and, you know, you look at our starting five, in their last 95 attempted threes as a group, they're 15 and 95 for 15.7%. So it's kind of amazing. Really look back on how we've won a couple games during that stretch. I think show you our guys have played really hard and tried to do the other things to help you win. We weren't at that level on Thursday. And for us, you have some teams, I always say there's 10% of the teams in the country that have the talent level that they can show up and not be at their best and win. And it's very difficult for a team, and that's a challenge you have, is not taking away the whole 28 games of a season, but even a 19-game conference schedule. We're all striving to be ready to play and be at our absolute best every night. It's probably unrealistic to think it's going to happen 19 times. And unfortunately for us, Thursday was one of those nights, and we just have a hard time winning if we're not at the highest level, especially when we're shooting the ball the way we are right now. And our league is so, the balance and everything it's just look at this road trip from our opponent's perspective. You have Lindenwood, who was 4-9, struggling to make the conference tournament. You have Lincoln, who was I think third by themselves or whatever, one game behind second, and which team swept and which team got swept. Yep. It's just kind of that's the MIAA, and that's the league we are in. You don't come play at your best and play well, you're just going to lose. And that's what happened to us on Thursday.
Yeah, we've seen that. Not much separation, really, other than Northwest, maybe Washburn in that mix, and everybody else can kind of just throw them out there in a given day. And you fell behind early, and they tried to battle back, made that run to get it to 1. We heard that little stretch there and got it to the Lindenwood game. You got it to 1 at 30-29. And felt okay, and then kind of slipped away before halftime. I thought that was maybe the where they won that game in some regards.
Yeah, really, you look at both games. Finishing halves is so important. That game, we had it to 1, and we let them get separation. Now we're down 6 and could never really get over the hump. Even Lincoln, we had up 29-18. They went to that zone in the last 5 minutes, and now you're only up 3 instead of having a double-figure lead at halftime. So, yeah, Lindenwood, their zone really gave us problems. Their length gave us problems in that zone. And we didn't make shots, and then Devos and them. He's a good player, and I thought we did a much better job on Saturday against Smith. 1, he was in foul trouble, but 2, we just did a better job of not letting him catch. Those guys are good players, and your best defense is try to limit them from catching the ball, and we did a better job on Saturday.
Yeah, Devos 23 and 10. And also hit 9 free throws. He got to the free throw line or not. And at times he kind of catapulted that free throw up there, but he looked like a guy might be playing in the back gyms on the noon ball. He's kind of looked like an older savvy veteran out there, which was a challenge.
Yeah, he's a good player. I feel like he's been a good player against us all in his whole career. I know he's a transfer from Richmond University, a nice Division I program, good league, and obviously his talent level was enough that he got recruited to go there. And he's just kind of that tweener player at our level. He's a 4-man, but he kind of has enough skill off the bounce. He can step out, doesn't necessarily shoot it that well, but it's just a difficult matchup. And teams at times they were going small, and he was a 5-man, and then he really didn't. Brady, that was our only option for Brady to guard, and that's just a difficult matchup for Brady. And we just didn't get enough stops, and probably more than anything, we lost on our home floor to a team that shot 3 of 18 from the 3 and 18 of 30 from the foul line. I think when that happens, you probably got to look at your offense at times more than your defense of why you lost that game.
Yeah, sometimes it is a simple game. You got to put the ball through the basket, and Tigers did not do that Thursday. Did a better job of that on Saturday. We'll talk about the win over Lincoln and look ahead to the challenging road trip in Edmond and Tahlequah this week down in Oklahoma. We'll do that when we return to Tiger Talk, which is recorded over the noon hour on Monday at Old Chicago. It's the place to watch your favorite basketball games. Maybe coming out to watch the big K-State game tonight on Big Monday. While you're here, ask about the OC Rewards program. It's free, and new members receive a free appetizer for up to $10 after their first transaction at Old Chicago, your pizza and craft beer authority. We'll take a break. More with Coach Johnson on Tiger Talk here on the Tiger Sports Network, built by Paul Wertenberger Construction.
As you plan for your business in 2018, advertising should be an important part of your growth strategy. Digital marketing puts your business in front of the right customers online. Advertising with the Hays Post ensures your message will be viewed 1.5 million times a month, including 375,000 unique views a week. Are you ready to grow your business? Advertise with us today. It's affordable and it works. Call us today at 785-628-0467. Eagle Communications, our community connected.
Now to Bitstam on the right side. Bobbles back to Davis. Left wing, Kinnaman. Now back to Davis, who has 15 today. Shoots from the elbow. No good. Rebound on the deck. Davis gets it back. Goes up. He scores and is fouled. And a three-point opportunity for Devin Davis, who has 17.
Yeah, that was a big stretch in the game on Saturday as the Tigers saw the tight game. They finally were able to pull away a little bit. That little run helped the Tigers to the victory over Lincoln, 72-63. Big win over the Blue Tigers, who they're now tied with for fourth place. And this was a grind-em-out game. You led by 11 in the first half, down by 7. That little push there, I think you scored 11 straight. We heard the highlight earlier. Devin hit that 3 to put you up by 4, and I think you're only up by 1, and that was a big possession there to kind of get you a little separation and get a nice win over a good Lincoln squad. And Devin Davis, what a week he had. 18 in both career highs, and just really did a lot of good things for you in those 2 wins.
Yeah, I mean he's played well of late, and he's put, we needed someone to score for us, and he's been able to put the ball in the hole for us. He's a high energy guy, and he's a physical player, and like that putback and the and one was just kind of a toughness and a hustle play. Like I said, he's a big kid for a guard, and he plays with some energy, plays with passion, and all that. I mean, I like that. I think he's a crowd favorite at times. Like he just needs to clean up about 2% of it, and you know what I mean, and it'd be even better. But he's really given us a boost here of late for sure.
And obviously, we can't talk about the Lincoln game without talking about Grant Holmes. He had 2 huge threes, and I know you were just searching for somebody to make a shot. It was a struggle from beyond the arc, and he stepped up, went 2 for 3 from 3, hit 3 free throws, scored 9 points, and you just never know. And not easy when you're on the bench because you don't know when you're going to get called, if you're going to get called, what the situation is. And to come in and do what he did, it says quite a bit about him.
Oh, no question. And, he's a guy that's played in the past. And, he's a sophomore, junior, whatever, got a little bit. So, I think that obviously helped a little bit that it wasn't just come out there and it's my first time ever on the stage. And you're right. I mean, we're just struggling. Aaron got hit, got a little whiplash there, was kind of out of it. And Aaron, quite frankly, has been struggling a little bit with his shot and just really out of option. Look down, have confidence in Grant, and Grant went out there, and it was just, at that point in the game, they weren't even guarding us. You know what I mean? They were backing all the way off and, surrounding Brady and daring us, kind of the old man pickup ball you see is just, I dare you to shoot it, and we were missing, and almost got to the point some of our guys didn't even want to take it. And just put Grant out there, and Grant stepped up, showed a lot of confidence, a lot of courage, and hit that that big one, made 2 out of 3 threes that we really needed, and kind of him and Devin in that little stretch there kind of sparked us on, and really happy for him because he's a great kid, and he's be easy to be disenfranchised and not locked in and not motivated because it's my senior year, I'm not getting the minutes that I'd like to get. And, he's never been that way. He's just a great person. He deserves a lot of credit for being the person he is. His parents deserve a lot of credit for raising the type of kid they have, and the fact that, he's just going about his business, happy for our team, and his number's called. He's ready to go. And I thought it was it was a perfect game for him the way it was going. It was a good fit for him and just kind of gambled with it. And, he made it happen.
Yep, helped turn the tide around, and Fort Hays State gets the victory. And now gearing up for a big road trip down to Oklahoma. Never easy. UCO and Northeastern State. The Broncos maybe I thought they might be better than they are for whatever reason. They haven't been able to put it together. But when you look, they've got a couple starters who started in the game you played them the first go-around, aren't playing much now. A couple guys coming off the bench that time are now starting. And talent-wise, they look pretty good when they were in Hayes. Just haven't put it together, but that makes that a scary game on Thursday night.
Oh, no question. You look at even Kearney. Kearney's beat some good people and all that. So even though you're at the bottom, a lot of that is just bad, catching teams at the wrong time. You're not playing with. The kid they have inside, the Avery kid, he's as good as offensive players we have in our conference. He is really good. And he's one of those, he doesn't shoot threes, but he doesn't just sit there on the post. So he's a hard double team in the fact that he shoots that 15, 17-footer like Hadley Gillum, and then he's got a little more athletic and can get to the rim. And he's a very good player. I think just watching him on film at times, they've gotten the Golden kid, who was the next best shooter, has not been playing. But what they've done is they put Holiday and London, the kids that have been in the program over there, they've improved their shooting. If you look at, they're last in the league in three-point shooting. I think last in the league, or them are just ahead of Lindenwood for least amount of three-pointers made per game. but they've added those guys now, so they're shooting it better, so it's harder to double team, harder to dig down there. They had a nice win last week or the week before, I can't remember. So, I mean, I feel like they might even be a harder team in the fact that they're playing through one guy instead of two guys, and there are more shooters around that one guy. So, yeah, it'll be a hard game, and we'll have to play well. They're going to double team Brady every time he catches it. So, again, the premium of if we continue to shoot the ball the way we have, that'll be problems because they're not going to let Brady catch it in the post and score. It'll be a double team. If we handle that double team, we're going to get really good looks. Can we step up and make those shots like we did here? We shot it well against them here.
No, do that again. And really, that game, I think you had Emporia right after, kind of the last time you guys really
no doubt.
And since then, it's been a struggle.
No doubt. I mean, those two games we shot at a high level, go to Emporia, win the game. And I mean, you really look at, like I said, teams that are double teaming Brady, we're getting pretty good looks out of that. Or they're playing zone, and we're getting fairly good looks out of that. I mean, we just got to be able to step up and make some shots. And right now, it's like, it's not just a few guys. Like I said, it's our whole starting five. Even, Brady had a nice little stretch of shooting threes. He's really struggling. Jared had that 2-game stretch. He has struggled since then. Marcus Cooper, since his injury, I think he's 5 of his last 30. I think Aaron's 0 for his last 12. I think Kyler's 3 for his last 18. I mean, you go down the line of our main guys. I mean, we're struggling as a group. So if we can just even get just 1 or 2 of them to kind of get out of that, that'll make a big difference. We don't need all 5 of them to get out of it, just a couple, and that'll really help us on this road trip.
Real quick, Northeastern State, the team, when they played in Hayes, I thought, wow, how are they where they at? Then they won 6 in a row. Now they've dropped 4 straight, but they've been right there in games. Very, very capable team on their home floor. That's a tough place. On the back end of a long road trip, that's a very difficult place to win.
It really is. I don't, even when the couple of years that they weren't very, very good, and let's be honest, there was a stretch for a couple of years they weren't very good. I think they beat us once and we won in overtime once. So it's just a hard the gym, it's a nice gym, but I mean, it's just, there's a few places I always, I think Central Missouri, Lindenwood, Kearney, and Northeastern we just don't play well there, and we're going to have to play well. I mean, and they're a prime example of, again, we keep saying it all year, just because, the bottom 4 teams are so much better this year than they've ever been. But Northeastern is the exact example of our league. You go 0-5, you win 6 in a row, now you've lost 3 in a row. I mean, if you're just in a little bit of a funk, you have a hard time winning. You play well, you can beat some teams. So, I mean, that'll be a very difficult game. I mean, they're all kind of in the same boat. I mean, hey, we still have not separated him. We have 4 games to go. I think they finished with either 4 at home or 3 out of 4 at home. They can still catch us, so that may end up being a big game for us to get in the top 6.
All right, well, we'll certainly see. Should be a lot of fun in Oklahoma. Hopefully the Tigers bring their A game and are ready to go. Coach, we'll see you in Edmond on Thursday night.
All right, thanks, George.
There you go, head coach Mark Johnson. Again, the Tigers and the Broncos of Central Oklahoma. That'll be a 5:30, 7:30 doubleheader on Thursday night, and then 1:30 and 3:30 from Tahlequah, Fort Hays State and Northeastern State on Saturday. And you can always catch the video replay of Tiger Talk Tuesday and Wednesdays at 10 a.m. and 7 p.m. on Eagle Cable Channel 14 and 614. Of course, always online at HayesPost.com. Tiger Talk presented by the fine folks at the Hayes Med Orthopedic Institute, part of the University of Kansas Health System, the Taco Shop, Adams Brown, Barron and Ball, Golden Belt Bank of Hayes and Ellis, BTI, Horizon Appliance and Mattress, Valley Hope of Norton, Eagle Communications, and, of course, Old Chicago Pizza and Tap Room, your craft beer authority. Old Chicago, north of the interstate in Hayes, serious craft brews and seriously good food. We'll talk to you on Thursday night from Hamilton Fieldhouse in Edmond, Fort Hays State in Central Oklahoma, and then back here next Monday on Tiger Talk on the Tiger Sports Network, built by Paul Wurtenberger Construction.
That was another legend on 99 KZ Country. And yes, before that, we had a brand new artist. Your home for today's stars and the legends. We play real country. I'm Teresa Trapp. Weather, news, sports, it's all here. We're on Facebook, and there is a listen live link at HayesPost.com. Dial us in on your radio at 99.5 FM. KHAZ, Real Country. 99 KZ Country.